intersection in San Francisco, not far from the city's Japantown, two buildings provide an interesting contrast. One is a Catholic church designed in a Japanese style to attract Japanese American worshippers. Across the road sits a Western-style building that appears inside and out much like a church, but is actually a Buddhist temple. Ron Kobata, the Japanese American resident minister, wears a robe much like a Christian minister would, but he does not pray to God, he prays to Buddha.
The acculturation took place where they began to adopt some of the customs of, perhaps you could say, the Judeo-Christian traditions. So, for example, having regular church services on Sundays, introducing pews into the temple.
Kobata is a monk from the school of Shin Buddhism, which originated in Japan some 800 years ago. It arrived in San Francisco a little more than 100 years ago, in 1898, under the title Buddhist Churches of America, a name chosen so the monks could blend in more easily in a predominantly Christian country.
The leadership at that time decided to adopt that term so as to become less alien. So there was an effort to become more acculturated to this country.
During World War II, many Japanese Americans were rounded up into detention camps, and nearly all San Francisco's Shin Buddhist temples were abandoned. Today, however, this school of Buddhism is rapidly expanding and has a presence in many parts of the United States. From Japantown to Chinatown and the Shenhao Temple, Chinese immigrants to San Francisco first established this temple in 1852. It was moved to its present location, also in Chinatown, in 1910. It is dedicated to the goddess of heaven and sea, Shenhao, also referred to as Mazu.
Mazu is the goddess of the sea. Since the Chinese came here on boats, they wanted to be blessed and protected by her. So they invited her to San Francisco.
This is the oldest Buddhist temple in all of San Francisco. It has no monks or nuns. It only has Susan, a volunteer who keeps up its day-to-day operations.
We all love this very old traditional temple. I always feel comfortable here because I love the temple so much.
The temple has become one of San Francisco's tourist attractions.
Foreign visitors also have an interest in the oldest temple in San Francisco.
This French family, a Catholic one, came with a purpose.
We want to make a good fortune. That's why we came here.
They have come to visit the god of fortune, whose statue sits in one corner of the temple. He seems to have a lot more incense sticks offered in front of him than the other gods. In Buddhism, incense sticks are burned as offerings to gods. More recent Asian immigrants, such as those from Thailand, have brought their own versions of Buddhism. This building near San Francisco's Golden Gate Park has been converted into a temple named Wat San Phram Dhammaran. The temple was established in 2002 and today has more than 600 worshippers, most of whom are ethnic Thai. 7 monks and 5 nuns live here. Pra Anandapanyo has been a monk for less than a year.
I enjoy it a lot. If I had known that the life of a monk is like this, I would want to be ordained a long time ago.
For many Thai immigrants in San Francisco, their form of Buddhism, called Dhamma Buddhism, gives them a sense of home. Everyone shares a common bond. Other schools of Buddhism also give their followers a feeling of family. Matthew has been a Buddhist for 30 years.
We have our problems and our board meetings and our financial concerns, but through that we find a deep spiritual unity here, and we enjoy each other's company pretty much. It's like a family.
Tibetan Buddhism is another school of Buddhism increasingly popular in the United States. Ron Kobata says one of the reasons for this is that the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism, is such a revered figure in the United States as well as around the world.
In terms of Buddhist interest in Buddhism in America, that's definitely growing. But I attribute that to the attraction that the Dalai Lama has brought to Buddhism internationally.
I think he's been kind of like the superstar of all those schools of Buddhism in the United States. He's really helped to define certain concepts that were hard to describe, like nirvana, karma, these words that are becoming part of the American lexicon.
Tibetan Buddhism has enriched an already very vibrant Buddhist community in San Francisco. Matthew happily accepts such diversity. He can pray using Japanese, Mandarin, and Vietnamese.
And so to define yourself as a Buddhist is one thing, but to refine yourself as a human being is something else, and any religion can help you to do that. And I think all the different schools of Buddhism have slightly different techniques to accomplish that worldview.
Buddhists in San Francisco consider themselves very fortunate. They live in one of the most beautiful cities in America and have an abundance of choices to satisfy their spiritual needs. For producer Suli Yi in San Francisco, Ruth Reader, VOA News.